Chapter 5. The Unraveling of Agreement. What began with awareness now moved toward separation. The lies that once blended seamlessly into thought no longer held their shape. They unraveled slowly, thread by thread, exposed not by force but by contrast. Truth does not rush its work. It remains, and in remaining, it reveals. The wounded gatekeeper felt the cost first. Old justifications lost their footing. Habits once defended as necessary now felt heavy and out of place. The comfort that deception offered began to fade, replaced by a quiet grief for time lost and truth delayed. This was not condemnation. This was the pain of clarity, the ache that comes when agreement is withdrawn and responsibility is reclaimed. Prayer grew more honest. Words no longer circled the problem. They named it. Confession rose without panic, without shame, but with weight. What had been hidden was now spoken into light, and light received it without resistance. Darkness does not survive confession. It survives secrecy. The watchful believer sensed the shift immediately. The atmosphere softened, not into ease, but into alignment. Scripture no longer felt heavy. It felt precise, landing exactly where it was needed. Authority was no longer something spoken into the room. It was settling into the heart. The silent witness observed the most telling sign. Distractions failed. What once diverted attention now fell flat. Silence returned, but it no longer carried tension. It carried expectation. Because agreement, once removed, leaves no anchor for deception to cling to, and what cannot cling must either flee or be exposed fully. Chapter 6. When resistance surfaces. Darkness rarely leaves without testing the ground one last time. Not with spectacle, but with pressure. Subtle doubt returned, quieter than before, more refined. Was this really necessary? Was this too much? Was peace not already enough? Resistance does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers reason. The wounded gatekeeper felt the pull to retreat, to stop short of full surrender, to preserve one corner untouched. The cost of obedience became clear. Letting go would mean change. Change would mean loss. And loss, even of what harms us, is still loss. The watchful believer recognized the moment for what it was. Not escalation, but exposure. Prayer shifted again, not longer, but firmer. Scripture was spoken once more, not broadly, but specifically. Truth was not negotiated. It was affirmed. The silent witness felt a heaviness lift briefly, then press again, as though something unseen had reached the edge of its influence and found no ground to stand on. Resistance surfaced, but it did not advance. It circled. It waited. No fear took hold. No chaos erupted. The tension remained contained, restrained by authority already established. Darkness was no longer acting freely. It was responding. Because resistance does not mean failure. It means the boundary has been reached, and what presses against it knows it cannot cross without consequence. Chapter 7. Peace that holds. The shift came quietly, without announcement. Peace settled not as emotion, but as order. The room felt aligned, as though something had finally been placed where it belonged. The air felt lighter, not because the conflict was imagined, but because it had been addressed. The wounded gatekeeper felt rest return, not the absence of struggle, but the presence of grounding. Thoughts slowed. Emotions steadied. The weight that had lingered without explanation lifted, replaced by resolve. What had been surrendered did not leave emptiness. It made room. The watchful believer recognized the moment without celebrating it. This was not victory to be paraded, but stewardship to be maintained. Prayer continued. Scripture remained central. Authority was not assumed. It was honored. The silent witness noticed the final sign. The atmosphere no longer reacted to truth. It welcomed it. Silence returned again, but this time it carried peace, not watchfulness, rest rather than restraint. Darkness had withdrawn, Not destroyed, but displaced, its access revoked, its agreement broken. Light had not overwhelmed the space. It had simply been allowed to stay. Because true peace is not loud. It does not announce itself. It remains. And where light is welcomed, truth is sustained, and obedience continues, darkness finds no place to return.